Hello and welcome back to another tutorial episode of Capitalism Lab. I'll start a custom game, give myself very high capital so I can do everything I need to do to show you how the supply and demand works in Capitalism Lab. I do want to add, don't really care about competitors. I think it's fine. Let's just start. So in this tutorial, I am going to hopefully, oh, I did not said this myself. So in this tutorial, I am hopefully going to show you how the whole demand and supply aspect works. And I'm going to do that using or by manufacturing cars, because if I show you quickly, you'll see that cars require you to have 3 items, which, for example, the car body requires you to have another 3 items, which on its own, this comes from oil, and this comes from 2 more mines. So you can see there's quite a bit of things that's happening here. So the first trick is to always check which city has the lowest wage rate. Okay, yeah. So 76, 78, 84. So it does seem like Coopersburg is the cheapest place to manufacture. So the higher the wages, the more manufacturing costs you have. The next thing you want to do is probably set up somewhere near the ports so you can easily export. So I guess somewhere here is cool. So I'll set up my manufacturing here. I'm going to start off by buying land, get a 6x6 for myself. And hopefully I'll do everything here. So I'm going to start from the top to bottom because I've got enough money and I can probably borrow enough money to build going down. Or we could do the other way around, it doesn't really matter. But the thing is that to manufacture cars, you need to have car body, engine, wheel, and tires. Wheel and tires come from rubber, so I need to have a rubber form. So let's do that. Make a medium rubber form. So need to do rubber. Ideally, you want to do it yourself because between time and time, the more rubber you use, the better your rubber gets, the better your car will get. You can always look for what's available in the ports as well and use them while you're waiting for resources of your own. But in this case, I'm going to hopefully be doing everything from scratch. The next thing we need is steel, because we need steel in quite a bit of places, so you need coal and iron ore. So you want to check for the best qualities available. This is 70. 51 is useless. So we all need oil as well, so might as well check it. 96, okay, this is probably the best oil we're going to find. So let's put a mine. Oh wait, sorry, you don't mine, you put an oil well. And I'm going to use my, I don't have user defined. So let's see what's available here. Yeah, let's just use this. One thing I want to do is, I'll use internal sales here, and I'll probably make another tutorial on internal sales sometime soon. But a brief idea on it is, internal sale means if no one is buying from you right now and you switch it on, that basically means that only your own firm can buy from this firm. In other words, you sell it to your own company or to different parts of your company. One thing to note is if competitors are already buying from you, then internal sale will not have an effect on them. You need to increase the price in a crazy manner until they drop out, and then decrease the price and switch on internal sale. So going back to this, I've got my oil well, which I think is the best one you could find in the game right now. 78. So I've got 78 in Aralis, I think. Is that how you pronounce it? 88, that looks really good. 62, not that great. Just wow, there's a lot of resources in this map. 74. 88. I think I'll take this one. And again, I'll put internal sales on And I need coal here. This one is 62. There's another one somewhere here. 70. Let's keep on looking. 57. 80. I'll take it. So you can see now that I'm at 300k right now, which is pretty much a huge investment if you're doing everything from scratch. So ideally, you don't want to be doing all of this from scratch. You just want to use what's available. But because I've got the money here, I'll do it. So this means that I can probably build a factory. Now I'll make a large factory for wheel and tires because from experience I know you'll need quite a bit of that. So car body requires glass, plastic. So plastic comes from oil, and then glass comes from, let's quickly just double check here. Automobile, glass comes from silica. So let's just find silica as well, because if I'm doing it from scratch, I might as well do everything, right? 84, yeah, I'll take it. So I'm not going to do R&D in this one because this one is supposed to be a short and quick tutorial. So I'll avoid doing R&D because once I show you the ins and outs of the supply chain, I'm out of here, as I'm going to end the episode. So let's just quickly make the small factories. So I need one for plastic. I need one for glass. So let's do that. Let's do plastic. Hold on. Yeah, give me plastic. Okay, let's set up a glass factory here. Go a bit here. So they purchase silica. Let's get it from my own side. Oh, I realized that I did not switch it on. So internal sales. Let's quickly go back to here. Purchase silica of my own. So I've got glass here now. Then I want to make plastic as well. Plastic. So oil will be my own. So that is sorted. And internal sales on. So you can now see that I've got plastic and oil. Next thing I want to do is get steel. So I'll create a large factory for it. Okay, I'll create a medium factory for it because there's no space. And let's do steel. I just want steel. Okay, you know what? Let's go this route. My own for my own. There you go. So you can now see that as soon as, okay, cool. So I'm going to change this with my own coal. So obviously it's a better level. And here with my own. There you go. Turn this on as well. So now you can see that we've got all the things that you might need other than rubber. So this is sorted. This is sorted. This one just rubber left. But that is fine. So I'll make this large factory was for wheels. So let's make wheels. So I'm gonna use this rubber for the meantime until my own starts to produce. Next thing I want to do is set up the engine. I'll make a large one as well. Here you can see that is okay. What I do want to do is not sell this to other people. And I want to sell this to other people as well. And I want to do another one to set up the last component, which is the car body. And internal cell as well. So you can now see that I've got all the components. Then the last one, I need to buy some more land. The last one is to set up a car. But what I want to do is I want to have a warehouse. And the reason why I'm doing that is because you want to make sure that the car body engine, because, and I'll show you just now. I'll get wheel. Okay. Internal sales, and internal sales. And then a factory to produce cars. Okay, I guess I'll have to put it here. So you'll see that you actually need two car bodies here, a wheel and chair to produce an engine. And you finally have a car. So let me just put up a shop somewhere. It's always best just do this way, and then you'll easily find a good index. Ideally, you also want to be using a warehouse for a car, and always want to put in advertising because of the branding aspect. So this is basically the car happening. 51 quality and that. And you'll see now this is where the supply and demand thing comes in. You can see here that you do not have enough supply of cars. And this means that you need to be producing more cars. Now, the first instinct you have is to actually put up another factory of a car, but that should not be the case. You need to analyze why there's a shortage of cars being produced first in your own factory. And each unit has its own supply and demand as well. You can see that the engine has huge supply but less demand. And you can see that the car body in this case has very little supply, and the wheel and tire as well. That means that we need to probably make another factory of car bodies, and maybe something to do with wheel and tires. So ideally what I want to do now is I'll switch out the engine to here, and then and you can even see here that there's almost no storage for the wheel and tires. For the car body. And that is for the simple reason that there's just too much demand, which I'm not being able to keep up. So I need to have another car body factory to basically be able to keep up. And so I'm going to change here. Let's see. I could always just put another warehouse of the same style and then switch the other supply to the warehouse, but I'm going to keep it here. I'll put the engine here, and then I'll change this to car body. And we can do this. And as soon as things settle down, you'll see that the car body will, once the storage is done, then the car body will take over. But if I want to do it quickly, I'm just going to clear the stock here and clear the stock here, which now means that car bodies will go. And the same happens to this side. You should ideally not do that because you're losing money this way. That means I'll put up a warehouse to get the wheel and tires. So I'll put a medium in this case, just for the bigger space. And I will do, okay, I'll do, okay, is there one with two inputs? Yes. So I'll put another wheel and tire factory. Okay, I actually don't need a wheel and tire factory, so that's fine. So let's actually change this to just one input, this one. So this one will become the wheel. All right, yeah, so it becomes the wheel. So that means that my car factory now, the car body will be coming from there. The wheel and tire will now change to this side. The engine will change to where it was, and the car body will go to the car body warehouse. And the same for this one. So now you can see that, and I'll make sure internal cells are on. Wheel and tire can go away. You can see that the supply has been cut off. That is fine, because now I'm using the warehouse. So I'm just going to put the warehouse only. There you go. So you can see now that the supply here has improved drastically, and everything is fine. And you can now see that there's not enough demand actually. And that is how you manage your supply chain, by analyzing each component. And something else interesting to notice as well. If you look at car bodies, you'll see that steel is a problem here. In other words, I kind of went a bit haste, and I was a bit quick to create another car body factory. And you can see here that, okay, which factory are you using? 6. Oh, they're both 6. So I should probably change this to another one. Car body, not warehouse only. Car body, this one. So this one is having huge supply hits here in the warehouse, but you'll see that it will soon equalize a bit. But we can still see that I can still improve on things, because you see here the car body, we're having problems with steel. And the reason being that, and you can see even the engines are having problems with steel. That's a very simple reason, that not producing enough steel. As you can see, there's a problem here. And the problem really isn't with the coal or the iron ore, it's just that I'm not producing enough steel. So I need to make more steel so that I am able to actually get another factory, maybe for engines. This one will just get from the other steel place. And this means that now I'll be having 2 steel factories, which will hopefully reduce the pressure on the car bodies. And you can see now the supply just went higher, because this was almost here. Now it's increasing, which means I'm producing more car bodies now. And that ultimately means I'll be producing more cars. Because if you look at the warehouse now, you can see that I've got so many car bodies, and this was not happening. And the last thing to note is, this might seem like we're not producing enough car bodies, but that's not the case, because you can see that we've got car bodies. Hold on. You can see that we've got car bodies sitting in storage. So that gives a false impression, because the warehouse makes it seem that the factory does not have enough supply. But you don't really need to be producing more, because you've got something in storage. The only time this will be true is when the warehouse complains about not having enough supply. So in other words, when you're looking at supply, you want to look at the supply comes from bottom to top, but the demand comes from the top to bottom. So don't assume that when you're looking at demands, don't start from the bottom. Don't start from the mine. Start from the top. Start from the factory, or even the shop. If the shop says there's not enough supply, go to the factory. If the factory says there is enough supply, then you simply need to add another store. But if the factory does not have enough supply, in other words, the demand is higher, then you need to explore which unit is causing it. If it's the car body, then you check the car body, and so on and so forth. But in terms of supply, you go the other way around. You need to see, you start from the from the bottom to the top. So because the supply comes from the mine at the end of the day, right? So you need to check where your supply is going wrong. So right now, in this case, we know that we need to be producing more steel. But do we really need to be producing more steel? We don't look at demand that way. You need to be looking at demand from the top. So steel is used by engines. You can see the engine does not have enough demand, so you don't need to get more steel. That's enough. Car bodies seem to be having more demand, but if we look at the warehouse, which is actually getting car bodies, you can see there's literally not enough demand. That basically means that we don't need to be doing anything else. Anything else is just a waste of our own production capacities because everything will just be sitting in storage. What this means right now is, what do you do next? You always need to keep an eye out on the market share. And you can see here that the reason why I don't have much market share, and check out the tutorial on how to dominate the market share, is that I'm not selling enough. So if I go to cars here, I'm only in one city. And maybe I can just do it quickly here. Let me put one store in each city, and you'll see how much things will change. Car, 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 and car. Don't forget your advertising. Car is kind of like a nice industry to be in because your revenue is kind of high. Rating points 80. Let's just this way. Let's add one more in here. And you'll see soon enough that because of selling in so many places, that one car factory might just not be enough anymore. Oh wow, these guys have got a way better quality thing going. And I'm not doing R&D, so you always need to do R&D. It's because I'll end the game like pretty much now. But just to show you how the supply will get affected by having a car, and you can see now that the demand is slowly increasing now. Okay, I'm actually tired now. Just becoming tiring to do this. Okay, last city. Now you can see here that the supply for cars is not enough anymore. That means you need to make another car. You need to be making more cars. And this is where the game happens. So you obviously go for the better rating, but I'm just doing this just to get it done quickly. So now you can see that here I've captured quite a bit of the market. Here, not much. Here, quite a bit. Here, and here, quite a bit as well. I mean, this is my hometown. So if I go back to Coopersburg, you will now see that I'm not producing enough cars. And the reason being, I just don't have enough cars being manufactured because my sales says there's not enough supply of cars. So I need to have another car factory. So you basically need to, at this point is where you create another car factory. And then the problems start. So let the car factory go. Now it's going to be a bit trickier to link this again. So it's ideally you want to have a warehouse for your cars, right? And then put all your cars there and then do that. But I'm just going to just change it here just to show you that it'll ease the pressure on the other one, and maybe one more city. And now, and you can see here, this one hasn't started selling because there's not enough supply. And that's what happens when you run out of supply, right? So you can now see that this one is slowly getting more demand. This one still has high demand, which you can still see that the problem is not enough cars are being manufactured. It's simple as that. And you can still see here that we have enough car bodies and enough engines. And we have enough. Wheel and tire is a bit tricky. But is it really tricky? Because remember, this one can give you a false impression. You can see that wheel and tires are actually they are a problem here. So what's causing us a barrier right now is our wheel and tires. So we need to be making more wheel and tires. Where's the warehouse? And you'll see that slowly this one will not keep up with our wheel and tires. But in actual fact, it's because we don't have enough output here. We've got storage will slowly clean out. So if you simulate, you'll see that the storage will slowly clean out, and we will not be able to keep up with the demand for the wheel and tires. One way to do this might just be to put another output. And this will increase the supply because now there are 2 people selling. And this will solve our problems. And you can see now the problems are solved. So wheel and tires should not be a barrier anymore. So that is, hopefully that helps. That is basically how you play around with supply and demand. And don't forget to R&D and all other things like that. So if you have a look at the cars right now, you can see that I've got huge brands and they're doing okay. So obviously this person has way better quality. I don't know how. They're probably okay. They are using things from the port, basically. Everything from the port. And probably have research. In any case, I'll end it here. I hope that helped. And you can now see that slowly, I think, this is going down. So last year we made 34. This year we're actually at 37. We're still making some kind of profit, I think. In any case, I'll stop the game here, and I hope this supply and demand or the supply chain aspect makes sense to you. Thank you, and goodbye. Have a happy holiday.